Hello everybody and welcome back to my Let's Play of Star Trek Judgment Rites. We just combined the two different single-celled organisms together to create a very viable species. Now, I normally would go into this room and put the genes in there, but this level seems to have a very finicky score system, and somebody told me that I actually need to do something else before I go in there, otherwise it would give me a lower score. I'm not really sure of how that works, because otherwise you would not know what happens here, but needless to say, you put it in there, and you get a congratulations message that's so very distorted you could barely understand it. So, you need to go out and check something in one of these areas. If you go this way, satellite dishes. Or antennas.
An antenna? I wonder what it was meant for.
That's what we're here to find out, Mr. Johns.
Unlike the rocks surrounding it, the sensor array dish looks fairly new. The control mechanism for the array.
The array appears to have deployed recently, which explains its lack of damage. The focal point of the dish is aligned approximately 35 degrees above the horizon.
Wait, let's see.
Ensign Johns appears bored by the desolate surroundings. James T. Kirk squints against the harsh sunlight on the surface of this world. Dr. Leonard McCoy rubs at his eyes as a little dust blows up. Spock looks around, apparently at ease in these surroundings.
Looks kind of like Vulcan.
Stars twinkle just a bit through the thin atmosphere. A large crevice in the rock. Volcanic in origin, these rocks have been here for a long time.
This appears to be similar to Federation technology, Captain. Its control principles are similar to the Medaille sensor dish on Vulcan. It has locked the array at a 35-degree angle. Without knowledge of the code control sequence, I cannot adjust it. I also detect that its power core is not functioning. It operates on geothermal energy, tapping into heat from the ground below.
So it's not getting enough heat. Let's see what's over here. Another dish.
The clearing is filled with hard rocks, hot dust, and enough sharp edges to make everyone wary. Harsh winds and meteorite strikes have sorely weathered these ancient rocks. In sharp contrast to the surrounding stones, the array glitters unblemished by the surroundings. James T. Kirk runs a strong hand over his smooth chin and studies his surroundings like a general surveying a battlefield. Dr. Leonard McCoy frowns as sweat forms on his upper lip. Spock ignores you as his restless gaze darts from feature to feature of the landscape. Ensign Johns appears unenthused by the surroundings. The control mechanism for the array.
Kind of reminds me of a Klingon penal colony, don't you think?
I think I would just as soon avoid the research needed to make that judgment, sir.
Someone once tried to talk me into buying a retirement villa on a world like this. It was a bargain.
Small wonder that.
This array is clear evidence of an ongoing alien interest in this world.
Someone selling ice water here would make a fortune.
The array appears to have deployed recently, which explains its lack of damage. The support beneath the base is weak and crumbled. It is aligned to a point approximately 35 degrees above the horizon. Captain, The controls indicate the device is aligned at an angle approximately 35 degrees above the horizon. There appears to be some sort of anomaly in the control program that has misaligned the controls, but my tricorder is unable to determine it. Without a method of determining the proper angle, I am afraid I cannot realign the dish.
That one seems to have not been deployed correctly. That's probably why it would cause the distortion in there.
Searing sunlight burns through the cloudless sky unabated.
I still think those look like clouds over there.
The volcanic rocks bear tiny scars from siderite strikes, as very little burns up in the atmosphere here. This seems James T. Kirk seems not to notice as a little sweat trickles down the side of his face. The sensor array's bright disk blossoms on a rock like a metal flower and points toward the distant horizon. Dr. Leonard McCoy looks around as if desirous of a soft place to sit down. Spock's gaze darts quickly between features, doubtless cataloging them for a later report. Ensign John's irritated expression suggests frustration or a pebble in his boot.
I'd hate it if a pebble on a world like this goes into my boot.
The array appears to have deployed recently, which explains its lack of damage. This array appears focused on a point approximately 35 degrees above the horizon. This appears to be similar to Federation technology, Captain. Its control principles are similar to the Medai.
Oh, that's just pretty much the same message you had earlier.
The array appears to be in similar condition to the others we have seen.
The difference between this place and hell is flames.
You overlook one other difference, Mr. Johns. As your author Mark Twain said, heaven for the climate, hell for the company.
This is definitely the kind of place you want to be from, not heading to.
The peacefulness of this planet is a nice change, isn't it, Mr. Spock?
Somewhat like the meditation grounds on Vulcan, Captain.
After our encounter with the Alasi, the Vardane, and their replica of the Enterprise, I can appreciate a few less stressful missions.
And this mission...
True, Captain. As long as you do not lower your guard, there is always the potential for danger.
Yeah, it would be nice to have, like, after having some tough missions, like, it would be nice to have one that's more clear-cut and not as dangerous. Of course, the world is barren, but... Yeah, they said there's a crevice in the rock over here, so let's take a look.
Captain, although this rock formation does indirectly lead to the thermal core, I suggest finding an area that would allow a more direct transfer of energy.
I think it's right here.
This appears to be the most accessible spot to heat the rocks below the ground and generate geothermal energy for the array.
So, found our phaser.
The energy level is insufficient, Captain. We cannot generate the energy level needed to provide geothermal energy with hand phasers.
If it's thermal energy you want, Jim, I remember this planet that used a starship's phasers on a microwave setting to heat the surrounding rock to provide temporary power.
An interesting observation, Doctor. We could use the same technique here, but the beam would have to be extremely precise. If we targeted the wrong section, we could melt the rock and destroy the array.
I think we need to scan them. Scan it again.
This appears to be the most...
No.
Kirk to Enterprise. Sulu, can you read me?
Sulu here, Captain. How can I help you?
The Enterprise should broadcast a low-level microwave beam at the coordinates I am sending.
We have them, Mr. Spock. Get ready. Stand away from the blast area.
This cutscene's pretty cool.
Stand by, ready for weapons position.
At least in my opinion.
Sending microwaves now.
Temperature near the power coupling is rising rapidly. I estimate a below-ground temperature of 345 degrees Kelvin is required to reactivate the array. It is at 320, 330, 335, 340, 345, 350.
Shut off the beam, Mr. Sewell.
Affirmative, Captain.
The array is now drawing power. We were successful.
Now let's take a look at the other array that seems to be off. But
I will need to adjust the control before the sensor array is realigned. Captain, these controls do not seem to be functioning properly.
maybe we need a...
Scotty, I need a calculation from the main computer.
While I know the computers on the Enterprise aren't quite as good as her engines, I think she'll manage.
I am sending the problem.
Ugh, that was too easy, Mr. Spock. The angle is 32.5 degrees.
Thank you, Mr. Scott.
So is there anything else you need, Captain?
Not now, Scotty. Kirk out.
I am now attempting to realign the device to 32.5 degrees. It should now be correctly aligned.
Oops. Said it's correctly aligned, so... Now let's go back to the building. Finish this mission. I think it's kind of funny you can make them do dance sometimes. So, what we do is we put the gammons in there.
Well, Jim, it doesn't look like it does anything. Oh, I guess I spoke too soon. It took it in. It looks as if the colony is getting a foothold in there.
Life energy levels are spiking. They're building to a level sufficient for sending out a signal 100 times stronger than the one that brought us here, Captain.
That's
The gammon
interesting.
sample appears to be thriving in this environment.
Thank you for your hard work. You have fulfilled the design for which we were created. I am authorized to tell you the true nature of this planet and those who brought you here. All you need do is ask.
Beautiful and quite lifelike, the three-dimensional projection appears to be a blend of Alphan and Omegan traits.
Thank you, Captain, for your aid in constituting my people and in the unexpected necessary realignment of our communications array. You have performed admirably. Of the 16 stations reporting at this point, there have been 50% fatalities, 30% other failures, and only 20% successes. One group got points for style.
That's points for style.
Points for style? Is this some sort of game? Not another alien race with a superiority complex. Who are you this time? Your appreciation is welcome, but many questions remain unanswered. Who are you? Points for style? Is this some sort... Your appreciation is welcome, but many questions remain unanswered.
I am Sisissa, a projection of a synthesis of Ozra and Visner. Clearly you know that the primitive life forms you have been dealing with are incapable of creating that in which you now stand. You will also note that the more demonic of the creatures displayed a passivity you did not expect, while the morally pure creature was aggressive and bloodthirsty.
The contradictions were noted and duly dealt with. I take it you were testing us on our ability to deal with disparate and contradictory inputs.
Yes, your reasoning ability was being tested, as well as your ability to adapt to new ideas when they conflict with deeply held beliefs and cultural customs. You passed quite admirably. The Brassica were impressed.
Brassica?
I'm not clear on who the Brassica are.
Captain, from this site, I can deduce various things about the Brassica. They are taller and more slender than we are. They are possessed of 3 fingers and a thumb on each hand. I suppose bilateral symmetry, and I know they possess greater visual acuity than humans. They visited this place well before humans had left the Cro-Magnon stage of development. And I note they have avoided detection by us, and presumably every other race in the universe, before they decided to send out signals to bring us to their bases.
Thank you, Mr. Spock.
And more you shall know as you continue on the quest. I wish you luck.
Kirk to Enterprise, Scotty, 4 to beam up.
If you're kind of wondering, the race that did this was the same one that did the same kind of trials on Balkos, with the Balkosi. They're doing a test to see which species are ready to meet them in their advanced knowledge. I doubt I'm going to get a perfect mission on this.
Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end.
In this case, Bones, a new beginning. We were the midwives for the rebirth of a life form. 2 halves that have been made whole again. That's the way it was meant to be.
And let us hope that this is the end of Ensign John's prejudices.
We can all learn to stop judging people by appearances. Ensign Johns might have done well to remember the biblical representation of Lucifer, appearing in the guise of an angel of light.
Yeah.
You can never trust anybody, and people who look like pointy-eared hobgoblins are definitely at the bottom of the list.
It appears that Dr. McCoy did not learn the lesson of this mission either. Unfortunate, but not unexpected.
Fortunately, the Alphans and the Omegans learned philosophy and personal belief are not as easily divorced from logic as some would believe. We humans attain our greatest fulfillment when both of them are united.
Really, Captain?
Really? But I've had enough philosophy for one day. I'd rather worry about these Brassica and their cosmic quest.
Well, with me aboard, we're sure to get points for style.
Many questions remain unanswered, Captain.
Bones is like he puts his hands behind his back, but doesn't seem to go there completely.
And there's only one way to answer them.
Captain, message from Starfleet.
Bring it up, Lieutenant.
I have reviewed your report from your recent assignment, Captain, and have a few comments. The top brass at Starfleet are impressed with the results of your recent performance. Outstanding work, Jim. Keep up the good work. Kane out.
Yeah, that's not 100%.
Ahead, Mr. Sulu. Warp factor 5.
Leaving orbit. Increasing to warp factor 5.
There's weird pixelation problems on the side there. Voids.
Spock, where do you think we should start looking for this? Brassica?
Logic suggests that they will present us with opportunities to come to them.
Captain, a message from Starfleet.
That was an interesting whistle. It didn't even complete.
On screen.
Captain, the USS Regulus has been forced to cancel its survey mission to the Antares Rift. We've decided to redirect the Enterprise to that mission. The USS Hood will take over for your current assignment.
Just want to check what the Antares Rift is. Let me write it down so I can do computer entry. So I'm going to end this Let's Play here right after this message.
Of course, the Antares Rift has a rather dangerous reputation.
Nothing the Enterprise can't handle. But be careful. Starfleet out.
Real quick, I want to see where we're at. We got, well, 3 points. That means we were in the 90% range, so that's not too bad. Alright, I'm gonna end this let's play here, and let me say this.
Save new game.
LP5. Oops, not percent. LP5. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.